The Wano arc of One Piece was an arc that was massive for both the story of One Piece itself and the anime altogether. Lasting a little over 4 years worth of manga publications and over 195 anime episodes, we saw the Wano arc make giant strides within the scope of the One Piece story, being possibly one of the most influential arcs since the Marineford War. So much has happened not only inside the story of Wano, but the events capturing the globe that would have ripple effects still felt in the current arcs today, leading up to the final saga. During the 4 years the Straw Hats were present on Wano, many fans, new and old, took the time to catch up to the story, and many consider it to be a personal milestone and one of the best arcs to date. Hey guys, Luke6 here, and in this short series, I'll be summarising and covering all of the 3 acts of Wano, listing all of the relevant information revealed, and studying just how the Wano arc managed to change the One Piece story forever. Wano Country, Prologue. We start off just before Wano, following Nekomamushi and the Guardians as they arrive on Sphinx Island, where it's revealed that Marco, the former 1st Division commander of the Whitebeard Pirates, is residing there as a doctor. We're also told that Sphinx Island is actually the home and birthplace of Whitebeard and his last keepsake. Marco was afraid that Edward Weevil and the old Buckingham Stussy, in search of his inheritance, will attack the island, so Marco opted to stay there for some time. During their interaction, we learn of the payback war between the remnants of the Whitebeard Pirates and the Blackbeard Pirates, in which the Whitebeard Pirates, in an attempt for revenge, suffered an overwhelming defeat and saw most of their territories overrun. Most of the former division commanders seemingly disappeared, with Marco residing on Sphinx Island. While not being able to join the Ninja Pirate Mink Samurai Alliance, however, he told Nekomamushi to give Luffy a message from him once he arrived at Wano. Back to the Straw Hats, who are now approaching Wano, they find themselves in the middle of a dangerous storm faced with a towering waterfall. Below the sunny there was a school of massive carp fish, in which Luffy grabbed 2 of them who sailed them up the waterfall. Unfortunately, at the top they got caught in a whirlpool. While Sanji managed to fly the others back to land, an octopus that was on the sunny held Luffy back, causing him to sink into the whirlpool. Later on, Luffy woke up on a beach next to the sunny, officially starting the first act of Wano. Wano Country, Act 1. At the start of Act 1, we get to see the other half of the Straw Hat crew that we haven't seen since Dressrosa. During their time so far on Wano, they've each picked a disguise to fit into the crowds and lifestyle of Wano, as Kinemon addressed the fact that many of Orochi's agents are around the country. However, Zoro became a Ronin, being a rogue samurai, and was framed for multiple Night Street murders. This led to his capture, with him being sentenced to perform seppuku, which Zoro turned a knife on the magistrates and cut them all down. Luffy on the beach saves a young girl called Tama, who was a capture of the Beast Pirates. To thank him, she helps him dock the Sunny away in a small cave and takes him to her home to offer him some food. When they arrive, we learn from her master, Hitetsu, the brutal state of the country under the rule of Kaidou and Orochi. Most of the country has become overrun with pollution. The water in the rivers is toxic and undrinkable, many villages have been leveled, and Kaidou's new weapon factory spilled tons of toxic gas into the atmosphere. Tama sadly vows to stay where she is, however, in order to wait for a pirate named Ace to return, who promised to take her away with him if she became a great ninja. But unfortunately, as both we and Luffy know, that vow is void due to Ace's death 2 years prior in the Marineford War. But we do learn what Ace did during his stay in Wano. During the brief moment we see, we're informed that Ace helped out Tama's village, which was suffering with famine, by providing them with resources and helping to build up their village. Luffy had to tell Tama that Ace wasn't coming back due to his death in Marineford, much to Tama's dismay. Tama fainted at this news, and Luffy decided to go to the nearest town to find a doctor, but not before donning a kimono and taking with him one of the 3 infamous cursed swords, being the Nidai Kitetsu. The Nidai Kitetsu is actually the predecessor of one of Zoro's swords, being the Sandai Kitetsu. It's also the successor to the Shodai Kitetsu. Its Meito rank is Great Grade, which surpasses the Sandai Kitetsu, being just a grade, and lower than the Shodai Kitetsu, being a Supreme Grade. The only one of the 3 swords we haven't seen so far is the Shodai Kitetsu. Luffy set off to find the nearest village, and for the first time since the crew split up, ran into Zoro. However, their reunion was interrupted by Basil Hawkins, a member of the Worst Generation, but now he works in Wano under Kaidou. After escaping him, Tsuru, a woman Zoro saved, offers to help Tama and brews her a healing herb tea. They arrive in Okobore town, and the worsening situation around Wano is emphasized even more. The town is known to be made from leftovers from the richer Bakura town. People struggle to find clean clothes and barely have enough to eat. They used to get food from Oden's farms nearby, which have been entirely repurposed under Orochi to contribute to the rich. After a journey through Bakura town to rescue Tama from a kidnapping that happened happened shortly after, and with Luffy causing a scene against some of the Beast Pirates, they managed to haul a massive cart of clean food back to Okobori Town. This, however, as we'd find out from Hawkins, would attract the attention of Jack, one of Kaido's top officers. Hawkins would also become aware of Luffy and Law's infiltration into Wano as the two meet up. Act 1. The Kouzuki Family. Law took Luffy to the ruins of Oden's castle on top of a nearby mountain, where he was reunited with Sanji and the rest of the Whole Cake Island crew, as well as Kinemon and Momonosuke. It's decided that the old ruins will be their new base of operations, and it's revealed that Kinemon and his group came to the present from 20 years ago. Kinemon comes to explain the history of Oden, and that he was the son of the previous shoguns, and was exiled for fighting in the capital. He made his way over to Kuri, where he defeated the most dangerous criminal in the area, being Ashura. He rounded up some more criminals, which was the formation of Kinemon's group, and referred to by the name of the Nine Red Scabbards. Then he was granted the title of Daimyo by his father. Oden wasn't satisfied, however, and left Wano with none other than Whitebeard to sail the sea, before later joining on Roger's crew, sailing the Grand Line until he returned to Wano. This, however, would then lead to his execution 20 years prior to the story. Kaido, once in control of Wano, burned his castle to the ground. Some of his retainers, including Kinemon, made their way to the castle only to see it being burned. Inside of the castle was Oden's wife and two children. Toki, Oden's wife, had a devil fruit ability that would allow her to send them to the future. She sent Momonosuke, Kinemon, Kanjuro, Raizo, and Okiku forward in time. They arrived in present-day Wano and set off to the sea to find allies that would help free Wano and take down Kaido, which would lead him to the Straw Hat and Heart Pirates. With the alliance formed, Kinemon revealed that their plan wasn't a full-scale war, but rather a direct attack on Kaido's home, Onigashima, 2 weeks from now on the night of the Fire Festival. Kinemon presented a secret message telling those marked with crescent moon tattoos on their ankles to meet at Habu Port on the day of the raid. He also stated that there were 3 samurai in particular that were needed on the night of the raid, these being Ashura, Kawamatsu, and Denjiro. Act 1. Luffy vs Kaido. A drunken Kaido flies down to Okobori Town in Kuri, demanding to know where Luffy and Law were after hearing about them being present on Wano. As to not draw Kaido's attention to the rest of the Straw Hats in Kinemon's group, Law and Luffy set off down the mountain. With Kaido causing a massive amount of damage, Hawkins unintentionally yet accurately claimed Luffy and Law were on the mountain at Oden's castle. In a drunken rage, Kaido fired a Boro breath and destroyed the ruins where the crew was hiding out. This caused Luffy to become extremely angry and attack Kaido. It was during this fight where we got to see the seemingly insurmountable strength difference between Luffy and Kaido. Luffy spent the fight giving it everything he had, using both Gear 2nd and 3rd with Haki, as well as a Gear 4th King Kong gun. This all came up short compared to Kaido, who managed to one-shot Luffy with a Thunder Bagua. Every attack Luffy threw was completely ineffective at hurting Kaido. Both for Luffy and the viewers, this was a serious wake-up call. Not until this point in the time skip had we seen Luffy so outmatched. This was a fight that was showing us what level Luffy needed to be at if he ever hoped at being king of the pirates. But at the time, there seemed to be very limited options for Luffy to get stronger. This, however, would change after their fight. Luffy was imprisoned in the Udon prison, where it's revealed that Eustace Kid, another member of the worst generation, is also a captive there. Luffy would learn an essential power-up during his time in prison, however, that's something to discuss in Act 2. With Luffy's imprisonment, the raid on Onigashima arranged for 2 weeks, and the fate of his crew revealed to be safe, the first act of Wano ends. So, what was revealed to us during this segment? We learned what happened to the Whitebeard pirates after the war at Marineford, how they attempted to get revenge on Blackbeard, an event called the Payback War. We finally get to see Wano after years of prior build-up. The state of the country is shown to us as being corrupt and polluted. We reunite with the other half of the crew we haven't seen since prior to the Whole Cake Island arc, and we learn what they're doing. The history of the Kouzuki clan is partially explained to us, as we're informed on how the country came to be, and how Kinemon and Momonosuke found their way to the present. The plan for the raid on Onigashima is established, as well as the massive strength gap between Luffy and Kaido. Hawkins, as well as other members of the worst generation, work under Kaido, and both Luffy and Kid are trapped in the Udon prison. And that finishes the summary of the first act of Wano. And that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I wanted to try a different style of video that I haven't done before, and if it's well received by both you guys and the YouTube algorithm, I'll definitely consider releasing part 2 and 3 that covers the end of Wano and the raid on Onigashima. It's not the longest video I've done, being just under 10 minutes, but I hope you guys can enjoy it nonetheless. If you guys did enjoy it, I'd appreciate it if you can consider dropping a like or a sub. Anyway, that's all from me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your week.